The most interesting position in fantasy football is not the quarterback, the running back, or even the wide receiver. It's the tight end position. Do you draft them early and get that positional advantage, or do you wait late into your draft and just work the waiver wire throughout the season? That's an interesting take, and today I'm going to give you your options, whether if you take plan A or plan B. If you decide to go plan A, these are the guys that you're going to want to target. The elite can't miss tight ends. You know what you're getting out of these guys, and it is elite production and a positional advantage over your league mates. Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, Kittle, and of course, Travis Kelce. Those guys have been around forever. But these are guys that you're going to have to get in the second or third, maybe fourth rounds, depending on how big your league is. But again, you know what you get out of these guys? It's elite production. Now, if you want to mesh the plan A and plan B, these are going to be the guys in the middle rounds where you're still going to get good to great production on a weekly basis, but you might also kind of get some stinker weeks if their matchup is not the greatest. Sam Laporta, TJ Hawkinson, David Njoku, I'd say they're in a tier by themselves. But some wild cards here at the bottom of this next tier is Jake Ferguson and Evan Ingram. And I want to dive into these guys, and we'll start with America's tight end. Jake Ferguson, a guy that this summer, yes, the team has a new head coach, but it is not a different play caller, as the offensive coordinator just got a promotion. So when Jake Ferguson was healthy the last couple years, he's had top 5, top 10 level fantasy football seasons because he's a pivotal part in this Schottenheimer offense. So for Jake Ferguson coming back, the only thing you have to worry about is the addition of George Pickens. Now, in this offense, Jake Ferguson's been the go-to guy in the red zone. So do I think George Pickens being added to this offense changes that? I don't. I think this is an offense that's going to pass a lot this year because they don't have the greatest running backs or offensive line for that matter. So I think Jake Ferguson, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb can all put up great seasons. And for Ferguson, I think he's going to be the red zone target in this offense. So again, I think Ferguson's easily going to be a top 10 tight end this year as long as this offense can stay healthy. Now, for Evan Ingram, we've seen his production in recent years. He's been a monster for fantasy football, but now he's in a new situation. But honestly, I don't think his production will change. Sure, we haven't seen his target share, his production in this Denver Broncos offense with Bo Nix, and we haven't seen him produce with Sean Payton as his head coach. But if there's anything we know about Sean Payton, he loves to run the football and he loves to get his tight ends involved in the receiving game. Whether if you go back to his days in New Orleans, whether if it was Jeremy Shockey or then Jimmy Graham or then Taysom Hill, he gets his tight ends involved in the passing game more so than any other position. So now he gets Evan Ingram, which he can use in a variety of different ways. Whether if you want to split him out wide as a wide receiver or use him as a traditional tight end, Evan Ingram will get the football in a ton of ways this year, which opens up the doors for him to have a monster top 5 level season. So sure, we haven't seen him produce in this exact situation, but I think there's no doubt with this coach, with this offense that we see around him, I think Evan Ingram's in due and in line for a monster fantasy season. Now, okay, maybe you don't want to go the tight end early. Maybe you want to go quarterback early and just stack up on your key running back and wide receiver spots. Well, okay, if you're in that round 6 to 9 range, these are going to be the guys that you can still target and they can still be weekly solid starting tight end options. You got Mark Andrews, of course, in a Ravens offense that I think will dominate this year. Tucker Kraft, when he was healthy last year, he was on pace to be a tight end 1. Dallas Goedert, of course, was a top 3 tight end second half of last season. Kincaid killed fantasy managers, including myself last year. But hey, maybe he's in line for a bounce back year. And Colston Loveland is in a very interesting position because we saw just 2 years ago when a Ben Johnson offense drafted a rookie tight end that looked like just kind of being a great blocker. He turned Sam Laporta into a top 3 fantasy tight end in his rookie year. This is a guy in Ben Johnson that loves his tight ends, and getting Colston Loveland with a top 10 pick in the NFL draft, he's in line to have a monster fantasy season just like Laporta did a few years ago. But of course, this all depends on your belief in Caleb Williams and how good this Bears offense can be. But let's say you punt the tight end position entirely. Now you're in rounds 10, 11, 12, and on. And you're really just trying to find a solid option that has some upside, and they could be a weekly starter for you if everything goes in their favor. These are the guys you're going to be looking at. Jonnu Smith, Mike Gesicki, Kyle Pitts. I know, we all collectively groan when I say that name. Isaiah Likely and Mason Taylor. A lot of these guys have potential. They're in good offenses, and they could have some touchdown upside if some quarterbacks, I guess, play favorably in their direction. But I do want to focus on Jonnu Smith because this is a guy that in a span of a week has gone from my tight end 9 to my tight end 16 because he went from an offense in Miami where he dominated last year to now an offense in Pittsburgh where it is an entirely new offense. The entire Pittsburgh offense, both their quarterbacks, their starting running back, their receiving core, most notably George Pickens, and their best tackle all left in free agency this year. So now we're looking at a Pittsburgh offense that, yes, they have Arthur Smith, but he's not a great coordinator for fantasy managers. And now you have Aaron Rodgers coming in, who he's historically used as tight ends, but last year he didn't really in New York. So you're asking Aaron Rodgers at 40 years old to produce a top 5, top 10 level tight end in Jonnu Smith. It's possible, but is it going to happen? It's not as likely as his situation was in Miami where he was guaranteed to produce. So Jonnu Smith, the talent is there. The reason he got a big payday in Miami was because of his now offensive coordinator yet again in Arthur Smith in Pittsburgh. But I do want to say it is DK Metcalf, Jaylen Warren, Jonnu Smith. Those are the pass catchers in this offense that are guaranteed production. So Jonnu, again, he's in line to have a monster season, but will he? We have to kind of wait and see for that. That's it, man. Those are my top 20 tight ends at this point in time. Drop your predictions in the comments section. Where did I go right? Where did I go wrong? Who am I sleeping on? Let me know in the comments because I'm always open to your opinion. And who knows, I might change my rankings along the way.